Alrighty, Monero Mateo, welcome back. We are botting out. We are here in Thailand botting out. We're not robot botting out, although we kind of are, you know. The AI overlord takeover happening every day. And, you know, it's a little bit of a different world over here, I have to tell you. I'll tell you all about it, actually. We arrived about a week ago, and you know, the first place that I went to for breakfast, I was talking with this Israeli waitress. I'm joking, but she was saying that, you know, we'll take your card, but you have to understand that there's going to be like a 7% service charge on using the card. And I was like, 7% sounds a little steep, Miss Rachel. And she said that, well, that's just how it is over here. You are incentivized to use cash. Everybody accepts cash. Everybody wants you to use cash. They don't like when you use a card. It's just how it is over here, apparently. And it's a little bit different than being in the States, because when you're in the States, you're incentivized actually to use a card. You know, in some cases, they just don't let you pay with cash. And so, you know, you use a card, you get the 3% cash back or whatever it is, and then the transaction flows through your QuickBooks if you're a business owner, and it's just like super easy to do that. Whereas if you're doing cash and you're having business transactions get done, then you have to manually log that into QuickBooks, and it's a little bit more of an overhead problem, especially if you're doing stuff for business. Now, if you're doing stuff personally, which is mostly what I'm kind of doing here in Thailand, I'm just kind of health maxing, doing some Muay Thai, chilling at the beach spas, getting my ice bath and sauna stuff in, then it's really no problem to use cash, because I'm not going to be recording this stuff anywhere. And plus, I don't want that 7% service charge. So Miss Rachel, our Israeli friend, actually helped us out a little bit, gave me some key intel, and helped me save a little bit of money over here. You know, they come in handy every now and then. And so, you know, I've learned the ways of the Thai. I've learned the ways of using cash everywhere. And this 100 baht bill is about $3 or so. You know, it's about a 32 to 1 exchange rate from USD to the bahts. And, you know, so after she said that, I got me a bundle of bahts, and I've just been flipping these out everywhere I go. So that's kind of the sitch with Thailand. It's been a lot of fun training Muay Thai over at an undisclosed location, because I don't want any of you weirdos to follow me here. And we've been working with Coach Chang. Shouts out to Coach Chang. Super awesome guy who's just been beating the hell out of me over the last week and teaching me the ways of the art. And, you know, it's just been a really good time. It's been a really good time. And I'm going to be here for a little bit more of a while until I head on back to Romania to visit my friend. And maybe do a stop in Turkey and Istanbul, see kind of what's up with that. And then we're going to go back to the States, where we will settle back in, retransplant ourselves back into the roots of the homeland, where seemingly everything is going wrong. And, you know, maybe I can come back and, you know, with my hero's journey, provide some wisdom to save the land. Who knows how that stuff works. But, yeah, that's actually somewhat of the topic of today's video. We're talking about global disenfranchisement. And, you know, Trump was supposed to do a lot of things. He was supposed to stop the foreign wars. He was supposed to, you know, offer some transparency about government corruption. And, you know, obviously every government's supposed to do that, but him in particular, he was supposed to do that. And he's just not releasing the Epstein files. And then you have also got the financial problems with the new bill he just passed, more trillions of dollars being added to the national debt, and the immigration problem seems to not be on its way to being solved. And not to dig into that right now, but that is kind of like, over the last 3 weeks, there's just been a huge reversal in sentiment in the States, from what I can tell. Now, I'm not like on social media all the time, because again, I'm health maxing over here in Thailand, but it just seems like people are very rapidly losing faith in this administration. And if they lose faith in this administration, then there really is no hope left in U.S. politics. And that's increasingly the case worldwide. You know, you look at Romania, for instance, where the election was just totally stolen. You look at Britain in the the United Kingdom and France, where they did some political jujitsu, and so leftists got into power, and they just continued the campaign for mass migration, pretty much everything the countrymen native there don't even want. So you just have a lot of people waking up to the fact that there is no solace, there is no hope in politics, which is something I don't have to explain to most of you out there who follow this channel and are cypherpunks and have already chosen to opt out. But as more people have an awakening to this, they're going to want to move to something that assuages their lack of faith in the system, so to speak. And that's going to be Monero, I think. But before we get into that, I talked about OPSEC a little bit before. I feel obliged to give a shout out to our buddy Nihilist, who left us a nice super chat on our XMR chat page. Go check that out. Want to give a quick shout out to that. Monero's CPA, I'll have the link below in the description. You can leave a little bit of a tip, and you can, have me give a little bit of a shout out in a video. If you've got like a video topic, I would love for that to happen. If you had a video topic, something for me to talk about, it could be anything, just because, we've beat this whole Monero's cryptocurrency horse thing to death with 150 videos here on the channel. And so if anyone wants to ask questions about philosophy, nature, do a quick video on polar bears or something, dude, I'd be down. Just pay me some Monero and, help the circular economy grow. And do it on my XMR chat page so everyone can see it. So do that. I always forget to plug that. But Nihilist, who is a well-respected community member, he actually left a nice tip from me. It's got to wait for the internet to load here, which is a little bit shaky. It's storm season out here in Thailand. It's been storming, most of the day actually. It's kind of on and off. It's not like a consistent thing. It's just like you just look out, it's sunny, and then you look out again, it's just like it's like thunderstorms. So I think that may be messing with the internet. Here we go. He said, "Hey man, from your latest videos, I see you've been looking into OPSEC. If you want to dig deeper into the rabbit hole, check out the OPSEC Bible I am maintaining here." And he left his link to where if you wanted to go to my page and you want to copy and paste that link, you can. I may remember to put it in the description as well if you want to go check it out there. He says, "Cheers." Cheers to you, Nihilist. Thank you again for getting in touch with me about that. I didn't even know about you until I had actually taken a screenshot of your tip here and I'd posted it online on my X, and so many people responded and said, "Dude, that guy is that guy. You definitely want to go check out his stuff because super, super informative. Really, really smart mastermind about all this OPSEC stuff." So you got a lot of thumbs up comments, and I appreciate you listening to me for whatever reason you do that, and tuning into the channel and the tip. That's great. Thank you so much. So let's get into the content. Let's talk about the global disenfranchisement and why I think that's going to lead to a lot of people getting into Monero and a lot of people getting into these other technologies like 2 to privacy, Mulvad VPN, SimpleX chat, Signal, and all these different things. Let's start with the states. We had already kind of gone over that a little bit. There were certain tenets to MAGA, and those principles came down to 3 things. Controlling the national debt, which Trump had talked about in his inauguration speech, which Elon Musk was supposed to help him out with. Elon Musk is out. They just passed a new bill adding $5 trillion to the national debt over the next number of years, and that's evidently not going to happen. So that's a fail. One thing I want to say about that, though, is that given I'm a CPA, I want to comment on this real quick. There are a couple nice things in the bill. It's going to raise the SALT cap, which means that your state and local tax deduction could be raised to $40,000. You can actually deduct that on your tax return. It's not limited to $10,000 anymore. And so that's got some implications for pass-through entity tax. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of pass-through entity tax or familiar with that, but that reduces the benefit from PTET, which makes your tax situation a lot easier. That makes me happy, right? So that's one thing. And then you can also deduct charitable contributions up to a certain extent without having to itemize. Now, a lot of people take the standard deduction because standard deduction has just been going up and up and up, especially since 2017 when it went nuclear from like the personal exemption amounts to that standard deduction. And, so less and less people itemize, which means less and less people benefited from doing charitable contributions. But now they're allowing you to take some deduction for your charitable contributions without having to itemize, which is very nice. And then lastly, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. And then the big one for me, 100% bonus depreciation. That's pretty solid. That's going to help a lot of businesses, a lot of my clients in particular who have heavy machinery and stuff like that. Really good stuff. So from a tax perspective, it's awesome. From a national security, moral perspective, not very good. And so that was kind of an F on the behalf of the administration. Then you also have the continuation of the weapon shipments to Ukraine. We're continuing to fund that war, which is really a stain on our image as Americans, in my opinion. And that was supposed to end just immediately when he got into office. That's what he said. Evidently, that's not happening. And then he also helped Israel bomb Iran, which came out of like nowhere to me. But evidently, that is now part of the agenda. And who knows if that has actually stopped, or whether or not they're just taking a break from what is going to be, who knows, maybe like a big conflagration over there, which encourages Israel to establish a regional empire, which seemingly our government is pretty much in the pocket of Israel, and we're just going to do whatever it is that they want. We're an occupied government. That seems to be the situation. A lot of people seemingly have woken up to that situation as of late, and that's not making a lot of people happy. That's making a lot of people feel disenfranchised because, it seems like no matter who you vote for, you get Netanyahu. You get just certain policies that can't be avoided. You're going to get mass migration. You're going to get increases to the national debt. You're going to get the pro-Israel lobby in there. And then you're also just going to get foreign wars, right? You're just going to get more foreign wars. There's no way to stop it. The military-industrial complex in control. There are just certain interests that are so entrenched that you don't have a choice when it comes to your vote, and that seems to be literally everywhere. And so, then we could talk about the immigration thing. I think everyone kind of knew that was not going to happen, but now you have a lot of people who are pretty well aware now that they're not going to be deporting people in certain industries like construction and farming and hospitality, which comprises a lot of where these immigrants go. You're not going to get the mass deportations, which essentially means you're going to get the continual demographic change of the country. And if you continue to have the demographic change happen, and then you also have these people who vote Republican losing faith in their government, and Trump was supposed to be the guy, right? He was like the last great white hope. And if people lose faith in him, then invariably they're going to stay home, or maybe they just get so upset that they go vote Democrat the next time around. And then you have a Democratic administration because the national debt is taking off. You continue to have inflation, which means this Democratic administration which comes in, they could have the solutions that we have, kind of prophesied for a long time that would be happening. You're going to get the price controls, you're going to get the higher taxes, you're going to get these kinds of regulations which crack down on free market activity, which encourages the growth of a black market, or as we should say, the free market, right? The underground market, which encourages the use of Monero. Especially as all that happens, you're going to have the war on cash continually take place, particularly in the States. I know as I've been in Eastern Europe, Central Europe, and now Asia, there is a pretty cash heavy culture over here that I don't know can be easily entrenched or easily exhumed, or however you want to put it, right? I don't know if you can eliminate that easily, especially because a lot of the people over here, they may not be digitally connected, especially just because of the poverty situations. Maybe not everybody has a cell phone. So, cash is going to be pretty heavy over here. But at least in Western countries, you do have this war on cash that could continue. And you could also have the blockchain forensics get better. You could have more KYC crackdowns. And as all this kind of stuff happens, it's just a perfect storm for Monero. But on top of all that stuff happening, because you have this global disenfranchisement, you're going to have a lot of people start to say, okay, well, if I have no political options, and I increasingly have no economic options because of the third world mass migration and the relationships these people have with each other, and these foreigners end up having high positions in the big corporations which supply a lot of the jobs, and instead of hiring Americans, and because of DEI programs, and because they want to give jobs to their friends through H-1B visas and bring them over and just all this kind of stuff, that's going to make a lot of people feel like they don't have something to sacrifice for that's beyond themselves. And furthermore, maybe they even loathe those things that are beyond themselves. They don't even want to sacrifice themselves for it, but they just want to be a part of something which is in contrast to that. And that's going to be Monero. I think Monero is going to attract a lot of that energy, and we've seen a lot of that energy come to the space as of late over like the last year or two. It's really attracted a lot of big names, Roger Ver being one of them. He used to be like a Bitcoin Cash guy, and he's increasingly doubled down on the need for privacy. He's taken a couple other big names with him to really campaign on this issue of privacy. And we also have like some pretty renegade people also coming to this space that, you know, create a little bit of conflict with other fellows in the space who have been here for quite a while and have earned stripes. But, you know, it's definitely going to attract a lot of people who have renegade energy and want to either do two things: fight against the system or just affirm their self-sovereignty. Because if you're in an occupied governmental situation, and maybe even you're not even part of an occupied government, but you just feel like you're not being represented by the government that you elected, then that could make you desire psychologically to do something which reaffirms your own sovereignty. Because people don't like to be slaves. People don't like to feel like they are under the control of somebody who hasn't earned that control and hasn't earned that right to make their laws or to tell them what to do. Like, we are meritocratic people, and we do fall into hierarchies, and, you know, oftentimes, at least historically, the people who would get to the top, they wouldn't be nepotists, they wouldn't be people who cheat their way there. There would be people who earned their way there, either through conquest or either through you know, some kind of respectable way. Now, if you get conquered, well, I guess you're occupied in that way. So you know what I mean, though. You know what I mean. But people find ways to escape the shackles of bondage to people that they don't like. You know, that is just a fundamental human trait. And so I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to seek out self-sovereignty through crypto and through these other privacy-preserving technologies that we talked about. And I think we're only at the very, very beginning of that, because the question you have to ask yourself is, if a lot of people go to crypto as a way to express this cathartic desire to be in control of their own finances, of their own lives, to kind of get off the grid, well, what crypto does that the best? Are they going to like Bitcoin? Are they going to like Ethereum? Sure, maybe they get rich off it, but they're not going to fundamentally respect it. I think you have to earn the respect of people. And just because you make money off something, just because something serves you in just a monetary use, doesn't mean that you're going to have like a fundamental respect for it. I think Monero, even though it's not moving, you know, like some other cryptos are, just because it's like delisted from everywhere and it's, you know, become public enemy number one in the crypto space, that doesn't mean that people don't respect it. You know, I think there is a lot of respect for Monero out there, and it's not even a matter of, you know, it doesn't have the respect it deserves because people don't like, because people think Bitcoin's actually better or something like that. It's like they just don't even know about it. Like, Monero is still very underground. I don't think people quite understand just how little people have even heard about this technology. They don't even know about it. And so as awareness grows, and as there's a demand for something like this because of the oncoming situation and people's desire to link up with other renegades and, you know, just get off the system, more people are just going to find this. They're just going to find it. They're going to feel like they've just come home, and then they're just going to participate in the ecosystem. And speaking of the ecosystem, I've been saying this increasingly, even to people I know. It's just like, dude, if you want to make some serious cash and you want to be part of something cool, you go on like Monerica, right? Or XMR Bazaar or ZBay. And ZBay, the Zano Bazaar, they just started to sell gift cards, digital gift cards for the Freedom Dollar, which is a private stable coin that somebody came up with on Zano. And then, Zano, the actual coin, like you can buy these digital gift cards. It goes to your email, and then you can use it as you use cash. It's actually pretty cool. But if you go on like Monerica, for instance, and you're trying to sell, I don't know, baked goods, do you know how many people would be out there trying to buy your cookies or buy your cakes? Like, you're talking about tons of people, man. I went on there today. In fact, I actually have it open because I just wanted to give it a cursory check just because I wanted to see what the competition was, and I wanted to see just how much on the ball people are, and people are not on the ball at all. Like, people don't even get this, and I feel like an idiot myself for not hopping on this in my own right, but I already have my own business, right? I already run my own business. I accept Monero. I'm already here, and you'll find me on here in the accounting section. Still the only accountant that accepts Monero, and I do get a lot of interesting requests that I unfortunately have to decline because people want me to do some pretty sketchy stuff, which I don't do. But anyways, I go to the food and drink section, and there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 vendors on Monerica selling food and drink. I mean, it's like people just don't know. Like, do you not understand that there is just a vast pool of underground money in Monero, and these people do not want to cash out through a KYC exit ramp? They don't want to go through gift cards. They don't want to go through gold backs because maybe there are complications there. Maybe there's quite a premium in exiting through those avenues. And I do believe that is probably one of the most important things that people can do is build relationships with gold and silver vendors so that they can accept Monero, understand Monero, and then start taking Monero for gold and silver shipments and gold backs. I think that would be amazing. I actually just heard in Florida, gold and silver has become legal tender. So you can pay in gold and silver in Florida for goods and services. And that basically means you can use gold backs. Now, I'm not sure how all that works with gold backs if you're buying stuff, because it's like, it's not exactly divisible like crypto is, but if people want to use that, they can. You got a lot of boomers retiring down there, so maybe they, find some solace in using that. But like, a lot of people just want to buy stuff with their Monero, and they want to help encourage the growth of the circular economy. Like, a lot of people reach out to me, an accountant, who you think people wouldn't want to reach out to in this kind of environment, unless they're trying to like really get creative with things. And, it's just like, if I can get these kinds of requests, then you can get these kinds of requests. And a lot of these people who hit me up are just like wanting to hit me up because I'm in the space and they want to support me for being in the space. So if you go to make like a bakery, dude, and you're like selling this stuff on Monerica, people will support you because they love that you're there, number one. And if you have like a good product, you could make a customer for life, really, and you can get to know these people. Watch your OPSEC, you never know who you're buying brownies from, so, but you just meet like-minded people, and this is a way for you to make a ton of money, because obviously Monero is used in a world that a lot of us are probably not familiar with, in a part of the internet that a lot of us don't visit either at all or very often. And these people are looking to cash out. And nothing would make them happier than cashing out into a dozen freshly baked cookies. I'm telling you, dude. And if nobody does it, I'll have to be the guy to do it. But like, otherwise, there's like a whole bunch of other stuff on here. You got people selling weaponry. That's kind of sketch, but people are selling ammunition for Monero. It's pretty badass. People are selling their DJ services, people selling artwork. Let's see where the artwork is. You got just a few artists on there. You have 3 artists. What are you doing? If you're not selling art from Monero, dude, crazy. If you do art and you're not selling it from Monero and you can't piece one and one together, I don't know what you're doing. That'd obviously be smart to do. Precious metals. You got 4 precious metals vendors. Again, if you're a precious metals vendor, man, like, why aren't you here? So, I mean, if I had like a lot more time and a lot more money, I'd really just start building a bunch of businesses to sell stuff in Monerica, because this is the easiest play in the world. And plus, it's a way to get your crypto privately without having to, expose your KYC and or your personal information at one of these centralized exchanges, or having to go through the loops of using decentralized exchanges. And I've heard Havana is really increasing a lot in liquidity. I think, are having $2 million a day traded on Havana. I think that's what I saw, which is significant. Or it's per month, I can't quite remember. But there's a lot of money that's transacting over there, and I hear that people are having successful transactions. So that's working really well as a decentralized exchange. People are converting their cash into Monero. And then Suridex, I guess, is on the way, and you're going to be able to, go from Ethereum in particular. That's one of the main ones they're working on, and Bitcoin into Monero in a decentralized and trustless fashion that's fairly easy and straightforward for most people to do. So that's pretty exciting too. But there's going to be a lot of people who want to get on this. You're going to have like a lot of gardeners. You're going to have a lot of ranchers. You're going to have a lot of people who just kind of sell stuff, and flip stuff like they do on Amazon or whatever. They're just going to come here and earn their Monero. And as more and more people stack Monero, as more and more people want to just exit the system, and inflation particularly gets worse, because one thing that you see in countries, especially in South America, is they want to use crypto, because crypto, despite its volatility, is perhaps even more stable than the local currencies in their countries. And so, as the United States gets ever more destabilized, in Western Europe in particular, where there's a ton of money, you're going to have a lot of people opting to get into Monero, particularly because it's private, and people are going to wake up to the fungibility problems of Bitcoin, and people are not going to like the culture that Bitcoin increasingly becomes, which is like this Wall Street, cucked out culture for big money, big business, and big government interests. And the renegade energy and a lot of the money is going to come to Monero. And I'm excited, dude. It's a very exciting time. We're really early. I saw one guy, he had a tweet, and he said that, I think he said maybe like 1% of the population is into crypto, and like 0.18% of that population is into Monero. So like, if you're in Monero right now, you're an anomaly. You're somebody who is very, very unbelievably early. Like, this is the kind of stuff that when people find out about it, they almost can't resist to just get in a little bit if they can, just because the value proposition is so blatantly obvious. And even Ray Dalio was talking about Monero a few years ago. He had an interest in it because Bitcoin, one of the problems he had with that is that you could track it, you could trace it. And he was not a fan of that. And he was the former biggest founder and CEO of the world's biggest hedge fund. So it's like, this is on people's radars. There was also a Bank of International Settlements paper that came out talking about the threat of privacy preserving cryptocurrencies. And, they talked about Monero. They mentioned Monero by name. And it's just funny because this crypto currently only sits at a $6 billion market cap. And you have some of the biggest names in the world who are very well aware of this stuff, and they're taking note of it. It's really the masses that don't understand Monero yet. They haven't heard of it, but key players in the financial world, they're very well aware of Monero. But the fact that it only sits at $6 billion, wow. I mean, this could really go for a run, fellas. And, it's just, we're early, and I'm not trying to be moon boy, but like, look, you even sit down some of like the the people in the know, the movers and shakers behind Monero, who typically aren't moon boys and talk about price, like you sit them down and you're like, hey, I know you're not a moon boy, but where do you see this going? They're like, it's going to go to the moon. So I don't know how you could look at this and think like it doesn't. This gets people excited. This gets people to participate in this stuff. Price is an advertisement. It is what it is. It gets the miners paid as well. It's, you know, it's not something we should necessarily like be hush-hush about and try to virtue signal and try to pretend like it ain't a thing, but we shouldn't make it everything, obviously. We shouldn't be like Sailor the Savior, ASAP Spurg, Michael Saylor's about it. But we should, you know, have hierarchies of understanding of values. So it's like, one, of course, is building the circular economy. Two, it's connecting with the like minds in the circular economy and like building those kinds of agorist relationships. And then, you know, three is price would be nice. But all this stuff works together. It works together because if it starts to get more valuable, people are going to want to figure out how to earn it. And because it's private, people are going to want to figure out how to earn it privately, which means they're going to want to start accepting it with their business. And that's the most private way to earn Monero is through earning it through commerce. So I could say more, but I think that is the main topic of discussion for today. People are being globally disenfranchised. People are going to want to act on something which allows them to restore some level of perceived sovereignty they have as an individual. A lot of people do that in different ways. I think going to the Orthodox Church is one particular way to do that, because it's like, yeah, we want to be groups with other people. We don't want to necessarily be just total lone wolves, because just being a lone wolf doesn't necessarily mean that you're living like a meaningful and fulfilling life, even if you do reclaim your sovereignty by being that kind of lone wolf who's like really technologically sophisticated and uses Monero and stays off the grid and has your OPSEC perfectly in check. You know, I think it's good to obviously be grouped up with other people who are of like mind and, you know, have their spirit right and are working towards like the higher things. So I do, you know, promote the Orthodox Church whenever I can, which is the ultimate truth, I believe. But in regards to growing the circular economy and the Monero ecosystem, I think more people are going to join just because they see that as a solution for the crisis of confidence in those things that they would otherwise sacrifice themselves or want to sacrifice themselves to be a part of, so that they could have shared values with something beyond themselves. That's really what people want. And if people don't have that in corporations, people don't have that in governments, people don't have that in local communities anymore, particularly because of the mass migration problems, then people are going to want to express that through something else. And I think a lot of those people are going to come to where we are. So I think that's all I got to say for this video. Thank you again, Nihilus, for the XMR chat contribution. And if you want to leave me an XMR chat, I have my XMR chat link below, and then I also have some crypto address if you want to donate. That's fine too. Never really asked for it, but now that we're on the topic, also like and subscribe. I literally never tell you guys to do that. Never tell you guys to like and subscribe. I guess I should start doing that more. We just passed 2K subs, which is solid. I think after 4 years we've earned those 2K subs, but always nice to get to 3 and maybe beyond. But obviously I got to make more videos, and maybe I'll try to do that. So anyways, God bless you all. Hope you all are doing well out there, and we will be in touch soon. Take care.